If you look at the so-called prophets with a really big following, these like big name prophets, as some people might think of them, if they predicted the outcome of the 2020 election, they almost all predicted Trump would win. So that if you were to flip a coin and say who's going to win, you'd be significantly more accurate than asking the big name prophets. And that's really disturbing, that how could the prophets be so much worse than random chance? What's interesting is talking to some other Christians, pastors, or whoever. Some of them had said that they felt that God had told them ahead of time that Biden would win. And so I've asked myself, well, if some Christians thought they heard that Trump would win and some Christians thought they heard Biden would win, how come we don't see some of the big name prophets saying that Trump would win and some of the big name prophets saying that Biden would win? How come the only so-called prophets with the big following are the ones that said that Trump would win? Now, to the unbelievers or atheists or agnostics who may watch my videos, I'm not saying this proves anything about Christians hearing from God. I'm just saying if some Christians think they heard God say Biden would win and some Christians think they heard God say Trump would win, how come we don't see that in the big name prophets where some say Biden would win, some say Trump would win? It seems like only the ones who predict Trump will win get the big following. Only the ones who predict Trump will win get known as these big name, so anointed prophets. And I think this really speaks to the sickness in the church where we don't tolerate the truth from our prophets. We don't gather around prophets who tell us the truth. We don't gather around and recognize people who tell us what God is actually saying. We gather around people who tell us what we want to hear. And so even in an environment where some people hear God say it one way, some people think they hear God say it the other way, clearly one of those was wrong, because I think it's been pretty well established Biden won the election. But even if we say Christians sometimes get it right, sometimes get it wrong, how come only the Christians who get it wrong are the ones who get the big following? When their prophecy doesn't happen, people keep following. They make another prediction, that doesn't happen, people keep following. And then we had this new prediction that on September 24th, that was the day that Trump would be reinstated. It didn't happen, but these people still have really big followings. Meanwhile, whatever Christians have thought they heard God say that Biden would win, they didn't get good followings. The Christian church, as on average, seems to only be willing to listen to false prophets and not real ones. On the one hand, that's terrible. It shows how sick the church is. I think about how Jeremiah Johnson had prophesied that Trump would win. When he apologized for the prophecy, he got death threats for apologizing. He did not get death threats for making a false prophecy. He got death threats for apologizing for a false prophecy. The church is really sick. Now, in the Bible, people also listen to the false prophets more than the true prophets.